Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Kraken, where we bring you your favorite team every single day as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I am your host, Erica L. Ayala. I've been your host right here since the very beginning of the Locked On Kraken experience. Thank you so much for making us a part of your daily destination. Now, you saw me light up a match here. I don't think I've ever done this. I've done some crazy things on Locked On Kraken. I don't know if I've ever lit a match in my open, but the reason that we did that is because we are going to sage. We're going to get rid of maybe some dormant negative energy, and then we're also going to use some Palo Santo to bring in some more positive energy. So that's what we're going to do today. And in between this nice little session, we, of course, are going to get you ready for the game day. Tonight, the Seattle Kraken are taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Now, this is our first back-to-back. We talked about this when we broke down the schedule in the offseason, but the Seattle Kraken have 5 back-to-backs this year, 2 games consecutive. This is a home-away game, or an away-home back-to-back. So we're taking on Edmonton at Rogers Place, and then we host the New York Islanders tomorrow. I'm going to let you know right now, so you don't even have to wait till the end of the show. Tomorrow is a Squadcast episode. The amazing Gil Martin of not only Locked On Islanders, but also Locked On NHL is going to join me, and we are going to commiserate together. That's literally the message that I sent to Gil. But as I said in yesterday's episode, it was the title for the thumbnail, Something's Gotta Give. And it's either going to be tonight or tomorrow. So here on Locked On Kraken, we are going to do our part. This is a candle. I have, a little safe little tin top here so I don't burn the house down. That would be bad. And I've got my sage bundle. So for those who maybe are not familiar, sage, it comes from the earth. It's dried out. It's a dried out kind of, I guess it's a plant, like a bush plant, something like that. And a lot of people use sage. Well, one, it just smells amazing. But also to energetically cleanse an environment. And so white sage, which is what I have here, white sage is known to be like a disinfectant, okay? Whether you are going to a new space, whether you need a fresh start, you need to reset, rejump, restart, white sage is the way to go. Now, it's like bleach. It neutralizes. Definitely takes out the negative, but it doesn't bring in any positive, which is why we have the Palo Santo, which can also be used in saging or smudging. Sometimes people use the word smudging, but this is particularly to bring in positive energy and to help set intentions. So that's what we're going to do here on Locked On Kraken. I've had a lot of different props during my time, but this one I think is going to be fun. So I'm going to just burn a little. So when you burn sage, for those who've never done it before, you can't see this, but I have this window here open. This one doesn't actually open. This window over here is open. You always want to have a window open, because as you're burning the sage, and we're going to move the sage clockwise, it probably looks counterclockwise to y'all, but I am moving clockwise in my world, in my universe here on the other side of the screen. You're going to go clockwise, or if I go this way, it probably looks clockwise to you. And just clearing that energy. All right. And you would move around the room. Right now, we're just going to stay in this little space, almost like what is it? What's the Marvel guy who does, and he opens the portals? Dr. somebody. It's not my favorite. He's not my favorite. But anyway, Cumberbatch. Well, that's the actor's name. So you can use the whole bundle. This is just an activity that we're going to do on camera, so I'm not going to actually burn from the entire bundle. I just took a little bit of sage. I don't know if you can see that. It's not focusing. Autofocus is not on, obviously. So good. I have my open flame. There are some indigenous practices that they prefer to strike matches as opposed to use anything like a lighter. Just your preference. I also just like using matches. So and take it into my fire. You burn it, let it burn a little, and then put it out. And then, like I said, we're going to move around in a clockwise motion. So you can see the smoke. And this is also why, again, you keep the window open. So this is going to be roaming around. You'll get the scent. A lot of people you'll see Indigenous people take the smudge, and sometimes they're literally cleaning themselves with the smoke. That's what we're going to do. Going to go clockwise around my Kraken logo. I also have, you can't see it, it's off camera. I have the big schedule. I have one of my big schedules. So I'm going to just do this over the entire Seattle Kraken schedule. And then I'm just going to let this burn out. You can see it's a small little piece of sage, but there you go. There you go. We are taking out all of the negative energy. We're taking out all of the negative energy from Kraken Nation, Kraken Camp, the Kraken locker room, the Kraken charter plane, all of the things. Taking it away. All right, so we've done that. I told you a little bit about our Seattle Kraken team. We've got some work to do. 13 points on the season, game 17. Now, in the report that we got from yesterday, we were given that Jordan Eberle he was on the injury report, I should say, with lower body. But as you will hear on today's episode of Locked on Kraken, we actually heard from Eberle, and he talked a little bit about his injury, a quad injury, just like I have been nursing. Quad injury is not great. But here's him talking about the quad injury and just kind of, reacting to a close call. So here's Jordan Eberle from Morning Skate.
What happened?
Yeah, I just took a skate to the quad. I mean, it was, it was scary, but got lucky, and nice to be back playing again.
They stitch you up? How many stitches?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know.
Lots?
It was a good cut. So I was just, like I said, I dodged the bullet, missed my tendon. So, obviously those skate cuts are scary and kind of dramatic, and especially with everything that's happened. So, we've just taken the precautions. I know, guys are wearing Kevlar, and you find places where they get you, and you fix yourself. So, but it's just nice to be back playing.
Does it have you sort of just reevaluating from a protection standpoint what you've been using, what you maybe want to use in the future? Like, does that come up for you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. You try and protect yourself as best you can. I mean, that's a spot where I know a few guys have been cut, and I've kind of made some changes to my gear just to try and fix that. So, I mean, anything you can prevent to try and play and be healthy into the lineup, you do.
Are we headed towards neck guards? I know a couple guys with the Canadians wore them in practice.
I know a few guys have worn them for sure. I think it's up to the individual. I think obviously it's a fast game, and if there's a way that, I know Gordy found a way to, put it into his gear so that it's really not interfering with anything. So, there's obviously ways you can do that, and I'm sure, I know the league's talked about it. I know individuals have talked about it. They've given you the open space to do it, and whatever guys want to do to feel safe out there is important.
How aware are you of?
So that was Jordan Eberle speaking to media in Edmonton, as the Seattle Kraken will take on the Edmonton Oilers. This sage, as you can see, has burned out, but as Eberle was speaking, I was also saging that we want to make sure he's healthy. We want to make sure all athletes are healthy. I know we talked about the incident that happened most recently, and I said we'll probably talk about it again, and it might come up. We've got a little bit of a packed schedule just with the Seattle Kraken having some games. So, but I haven't forgotten that. I do want to come back to it. Coming up on this episode of Locked on Kraken, I mentioned that once you sage something, and I aired my grievances on yesterday's episode. If you missed that, go listen. It's a massive rant. Then you got to bring in the positivity. So what is there to be positive about? What are the updates? What are we expecting? What are we going to be looking out for in this game against the Edmonton Oilers? We're going to get into that coming up on today's episode of Locked On Kraken. Before we do that, I want to let you know that today's episode brought to you by our friends at Sleeper. So I'm going to tell you about, again, our friends at Sleeper. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Jordan Eberle coming back into the lineup. Matty Beniers getting his first goal. Okay, those aren't like aspirational things. Those are just things that actually happened, But all the things that we need to happen for the Seattle Kraken to be a serious contender this year for a playoff berth and a chance at their first ever Stanley Cup. You could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, especially hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. So you get to figure out what player you want to take this week to win 100x your money. Are you going to go with Eberle? Are you going to go with maybe Jaden Schwartz on a tear? Kyler Yamamoto returning to Edmonton to stick it to his former team. Entries can be made under a minute, and we're talking NHL, but you can also use the Sleeper app to play daily fantasy on the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, college football, and so much more. Now, all you have to do is pick whether names like Bedard, Eberle, Beniers, even Joey Decord will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in any given game. To win a 100x bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Kraken fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Thanks as always for making us a part of your daily destination here on the Locked On Kraken show. I also want to make sure that you know that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts on Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. And again, you'll hear Gil and I on the Locked On NHL show. We are, of course, going to be talking women's hockey, the women's hockey spotlight, but Gil and I will also be on Locked On Kraken and Locked On Islanders tomorrow to preview that game. Okay, let's get to know the enemy here. We're taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Saw them not too long ago. They've been struggling 4-9-1. Their most recent win, that would be against us. So let's not let the record fool you. On the road, the Kraken are 3-3-3. The home record for the Edmonton Oilers, 2-4-1. The last 10 games, you can see 3-6-1 for the Oilers, 4-4-2 for the Kraken. Vince Dunn and Jaden Schwartz are splitting the pot there for our leading scorer, while Leon Draisaitl is making it happen for the Oilers. Power play at a 26.5% clip for the Oilers, a 25% clip for the Kraken, 71.4 penalty kill for the Kraken, 71.7 for the Oilers. Now, historically, and I mean, this might sound obvious, but we are not within a stone's throw of the Edmonton Oilers individually or as a team, as a unit. They've been able to not necessarily meet massive success. It's kind of a little bit of their Achilles heel, but they have very, good athletes on their team that can carry their team. And I think what I want to see from the Seattle Kraken is for us to really play our game. Now, what does that look like? The Kraken are a by committee team. And I know we played some stuff from Jordan Eberle earlier, but if you'd heard him, you know, throughout the rest of his comments, he talks about that. The other day, we heard Brandon Tanev talk about that. Today, Adam Larson talked about, one of the things that he's focused on is playing a complete 60, because that's what the Seattle Kraken have not been able to do. So, we want to manifest those things. We're going to use our Palo Santo to bring some of that energetically in. But also the Seattle Kraken have to do that while managing roster changes. We talked about on yesterday's episode that Shane Wright and Ryan Winterton back with Coachella Valley. What we also found out is that Andrew Podorowski is going to be with the Seattle Kraken. Now, Dave Haxel spoke to media today, said that he does not expect to see Podorowski in the lineup today, but since it is a back-to-back, obviously there'll be players that are playing today that won't play tomorrow, get some rest. We're probably going to see both goalies, especially because we have another game. We have Vancouver. Oh gosh, Vancouver. We have Vancouver over the weekend. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how time is split. I was very upset that the Seattle Kraken did not practice. There's a part of me logically that knows, there's a reason why they didn't practice, but still. Anyway, so we gotta manifest some of that stuff. So when it comes to the Oilers, though, we cannot take them for granted. Regardless of their record, any team at any time can beat anyone. And that's what the Seattle Kraken really need to hold on to. You've already gotten kind of smacked around by the Oilers. Recent history, that's a game that the Seattle Kraken were winning and could have been winning. We also heard from Eberle, Larson said it, lots of folks, that the energy that Brandon Tanev brought back to the lineup is exactly what the Seattle Kraken want to have. So coming up on the next segment, I want to talk about what are the keys to the game. I've kind of alluded to it, and I can't imagine that you'll be surprised by any of it, but let's talk about that coming up on today's episode of Locked On Kraken. Today's episode of Locked On Kraken also brought to you by our friends at Jace Medical. Now, I've spoken to you about Jace Medical and why I think it's a good idea. I have people in my family who have medical conditions, who have conditions where, whether it's for their health or their overall mental well-being, that they have to have medication. So Jace Medical offers you an opportunity to make sure that you never run out of what you need from your daily medication. And they also have what they call a Jace case, which is really cool because this is 5 life-saving antibiotics that you can have in case of emergency use. The Jace case is super easy to get, or Jace Medical is super easy to use overall. You go online, you fill out some forms, and in some cases you might have to hop on a quick call, and then you can get the medication that you need when it's appropriate and available in a year's supply. So you don't have to worry about supply chains. You don't have to worry about any of that. Don't be caught unprepared. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved one during the unexpected. So here's what we want you to do. If you or someone you love would get some peace of mind by having a year's supply of their daily medication, go to jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com, JASEMEDICAL.com, to see if it's offered to you. Remember to use promo code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Thanks as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily destination. We appreciate you so much here at Locked On Kraken. So let's talk about keys to this game tonight. The Edmonton Oilers were on the road. I guess the good news is that the Seattle Kraken have a better road record than a home record We'll worry about that home record when we play the Islanders tomorrow night. Gil Martin will join me on tomorrow's episode, so we've got a squad cast for you. You're going to see Gil and I. We're actually going to be partnering up a few times in the next handful of days between Locked On Kraken and the Locked On NHL show. But as I said, we'll get to that tomorrow. Keys to tonight. You know, I talked about it the last time we won, which would have been against, I can't even remember. Let's see. Let me take a close look here. I guess Colorado, not the last time. So they beat us the last time, you know. But when we played Colorado, I just said, go play hockey. Let's just go play hockey. And I told you this is a little bit of a energetic cleanse tutorial today. I'm going to take my Palo Santo as we talk about our keys to the game because we're going to keep it positive. Palo Santo is great to use after you use sage, or I used white sage, which just neutralizes, gets rid of all the negative stuff, but it doesn't add anything. Palo Santo has good positive vibe energy. So we're going to just play Kraken hockey. I know I joked around about Kraken hockey the other day, but again, we're going to keep it positive. What do we know about Kraken hockey, folks? We are a by committee team. We play our best when we play together. We've got some, new blood coming into the organization at some point. We're going to get pots, probably against the Islanders, according to Dave Haxtell. Talked about that a little bit earlier on the show. But we are a great team when we are playing together, okay? When we are focused on being stronger than the sum of our parts. Is that how that phrase goes? I'm always messing up phrases. There's strength in our numbers for the Seattle Kraken. That's when we play our best. When we play a disciplined style of hockey. Now, I don't think that means that we're holding back on our checks and our hits, but we have to play disciplined. Talked about it the other day. We want to make sure we're going stick to stick, that we're going body to body, and that we minimize extending our stick and putting ourselves in a position where we're getting penalties that we really don't want. We have gotten some great goaltending from Philip Grubauer and from Joey Decord. And we know that our team is responding to that. They see that. Brandon Tanev talked about it the other day. And we want to capitalize on the good effort that our goaltenders are putting forth, the good effort that players like Jaden Schwartz and Vince Dunn are putting forward. We want to capitalize on that. And we can do that. We can absolutely do that. And if we play cool, calm, and collected, like a team that saged out the negative and then added some Palo Santo for positive energy, we can be a successful team. We have a lot of the elements. We needed to be reminded of who we are, but I think we're doing that. Not to mention, we've got the sickest logo. Our alternate jerseys are fantastic. That's my Grubauer impression. Such a great video. We've got good stuff. It's not always shining to the top, but the cream will always rise to the top. And we just need to settle in, be patient, have confidence, and be communicative on the ice, and we will see it come to fruition. Before we get out of here, I want to let you fans know, in case you haven't already done so, check out the Winter Classic tickets on sale to the public. We still have to get our jersey reveal. I cannot tell you, I am so excited to see what this jersey is going to look like. I am obsessed with the design and decor behind this logo. Even though I've talked about it before, I think kind of the NHL sanctioned logos are pretty degular, but this one slaps. I like it. I'm excited about it. But as a reminder, there's still work to be done. I'm giving positive vibes because I think we needed positive vibes. It's fine to call out what's not working. And it's also fine to want to call in what is working. Today, I'm doing the latter. I wanted to bring some positivity, some positive energy. Also, like, I kind of need it. I've been I did this saging for the Kraken, but also for me. Like, I've been disclosing little pieces here and there. It's been a little bit of a rough road for me. You can't always stay stuck in the storm. You got to ride the wave through, and the sunlight will eventually hit your face. And I'm leaning into it. Right? I am leaning in. I'm ready to have the sun hit me. I'm ready to have the sun hit the Seattle Kraken. And I just feel like this is a good time to inch towards it. Now, are we going to get the win? I can't say that for certain, but we have another chance tomorrow. And I like our chances as a squad when we play our game. And our game is by committee. Our game is all in. Our game is disciplined. And everything is going to fall into place, but we have to trust the process. I think we've been a little bit anxious, maybe a little bit too excitable to get to that next level. You can't cheat the process. You can't cheat the game. So the Seattle Kraken just have to remember that. Adam Larson said earlier today, we've been in this position before. Didn't have a great start last year. And look where we ended up. But we trusted the process. Today's a good day. Tonight's a good night to trust in the process, to hold fast and to stay true. We're always going to do that. We might be yelling and screaming about things that are burning our grits, as I like to say, but we always hold fast. We always stay true. And I'm leaning into that today. Seattle Kraken fans, the Palo Santo has been sent negative energy out the window. And so it's a game day. We are ready to go. We're going to see the Kraken crew on the road in Edmonton, holding it down. I can't wait. I'm super excited. We have a lot to talk about this week, but tomorrow it's Gil and I getting you ready for another game day, this time at Climate Pledge Arena. Unfortunately, I am not in Seattle to do a full smudge and sage of CPA itself, but you best believe when I come in December, because I will be in Seattle at the end of December, getting ready for the Winter Classic, I will have my tools prepared. So if you are someone who is a part of the saging and smudging community and you think there is a place locally sourced sage that I should check out, let me know. Until then, be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Hold fast, stay true, and I will catch you on tomorrow's episode or on the interwebs tonight, hopefully screaming, "Let's go Kraken!" Peace out, everybody.